Welcome to Morning Message for December the 17th. Many years ago, when I was rector of the parish of Bridgewater and the Conqueralls, this is what our Christmas Eve was like one year. Christmas Eve fell on a Sunday, so Christmas morning was Advent 4, Sunday evening was Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day was Monday. So, Christmas Eve morning, Advent 4, we had two services. Christmas Eve, that same day, we had four services, two in Bridgewater and two in the Conqueralls. And on Christmas Day, we had an 8 o'clock and a 10 o'clock in the morning. That's eight. That's 8 church services we had in the span of just over 24 hours. Sometimes when people notice that we have a heavy schedule on Christmas Eve, I tell them that story, and I say, every Christmas ever since has been really easy. I think the parish of Bridgewater changed their schedule after that. I said, can I ask the 10 people that come at 8 o'clock on Christmas morning and the 10 people that come at 10 o'clock if they would all arrive at 9 o'clock? And they all said yes. So the next year I think we had about 20 people at a 9 o'clock service there. Another quick story about my time in Bridgewater on a Christmas Eve. We had 4 services scheduled for Christmas Eve, 4 o'clock in Bridgewater, 7 and 9 in the Conqueralls, and back to Bridgewater for an 11 o'clock service that evening. And I had a retired clergy come and help me for the services in the Conqueralls. I was going to preach and he was going to preside. And that worked out wonderfully. But at St. Augustine's, that was the 9 o'clock service, just before the final blessing, this retired priest stood before the congregation and began to talk to them about how much he loved them and what a wonderful group of people they are. And he was right, they absolutely were. He included in his comments what a wonderful person I was. And he went on and on and on at some length on these subjects. And how do you interrupt somebody who is telling the congregation what a wonderful group of people they are? I couldn't do it. But I kept looking at my watch. And it kept getting closer and closer to 11 o'clock. And I had to be back in Bridgewater for that midnight service. And I kept looking at my watch, and he kept going on and on and on. And finally he ended. Finally we had the blessing and the final hymn, and I got to Bridgewater at about 30 seconds before 11 o'clock. That's how tight it was. And as I was walking in the vestry door, I realized that 4.5 minutes earlier, I was in the vestry at St. Augustine's in Conquerall Bank. It's probably about an 8 to 10 minute drive between the two churches, so I made it in much less than that. Obviously, I was speeding in order to get to where I was going, and it was no exaggeration, 4.5 minutes. It's not that I took the drive in 4.5 minutes. I was still standing in the vestry in Conquerall Bank at 4.5 minutes earlier. And Cynthia was there, Cynthia Kraft was there in the vestry, and I think there might have been a server and, maybe some altar guild members standing in the vestry. And I proudly stated that 4.5 minutes earlier I was in the other vestry. And Cynthia looks at me and she kind of shakes her head and says, we would have waited. She was right. We would have waited. And I've taken her wisdom to heart, and I don't speed to get to church services anymore, figuring people can wait or go on without me. Either way, it's okay. Christmas is a season of waiting. Advent is a season of waiting for Christmas. It's a season of anticipation. But really, I feel like all year we've been waiting. We've been, every day it seems we tune into the news to hear the medical officers tell us how many cases there are that day, how long is the Atlantic bubble going to last, what's happening in our schools, when is the vaccine going to arrive. All those kinds of things we've been waiting for all year. And I'm kind of tired of waiting. And I'm looking for letting that joy of Christmas, letting the real message of God's love permeate my life now. I don't want to wait anymore for that. I don't think we need to wait anymore for that. And that's my hope and prayer for all of you this day, that somehow, in some way, God's message of love, God's salvation, God's deep, deep love for you, no matter who you are or what you've done, God's love will break into your lives. There's no need to wait. There's no need to anticipate. Let God's light shine in each and every one of us. God bless. Amen.